Hello, this is the TradeSight opening comments and economic roadmap for Forex traders for the week beginning February 10th, 2013. That's a Sunday, going into February 15th. Don't forget that the following weekend is a 3-day weekend here in the U.S. with President's Day. We'll have levels up on Sunday, but no calls Sunday going into the bank holiday here in the U.S. Dollar index daily chart on the right side of your on your screen here. You can see that we did hold this general trend line we've been watching here. Which was good news because had that broken, there were a lot of technical reasons that could have gotten ugly. So far, at least, to bounce off of that, we'll see what that turns into. We're now hitting the downtrend line, the adjusted downtrend line from the highs back in July to the recent lows back at the beginning of the year, or the recent highs back at the beginning of the year. We'll see if we can break through that. But that's definitely more bullish for the U.S. dollar index than what we were seeing previously. Let's take a look now at the euro dollar. See where it's at for the week ahead. And as you can see, got a little pullback on the euro dollar here. What's really interesting this week, what was fascinating, we had a good trading week, but what was fascinating was to see just such a difference between how the euro dollar and the pound dollar are now behaving, right? I mean, here's the euro dollar. It was making new highs, got a 9-bar setup with our secret tool, topped out right there, and then came back in sharply. The red line we're heading towards here is the static trend line, that last move up. So that'll be interesting to see what that looks like when that hits. But it is interesting to see the difference. They were almost alternating days. The days that the euro was up, the pound was down. Days where the pound was up, the euro was down. Very uncommon to see them so out of sync, and it's really been over the last, since the first of the year, over the last month and a half, that we've seen that activity. We did see better ranges this week. We have been seeing slightly better ranges for the year, but definitely in the last week or so I've been impressed with the ranges. So I think it's a good time to really be paying attention to Forex after those back 5 or so, 6 months of last year were just so awful. All signs so far this year have been an improvement. We saw some great stuff in January, and then it got a little slow again in the later part of January. But February so far, at least, I mean, I would take this last week on average every week in Forex and be happy about it. So I don't think there's much that we can be complaining about. So that's the setups for the week. I mean, I don't see anything in terms of patterns that are special. Just keep in mind that we do have options expiration in the U.S. on Friday. Doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with Forex since it's not triple expiration, and we again have that long weekend next weekend. And of course, with the storm hitting back east, it's possible that there's going to be some slow start to the week this weekend. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the economic data that's due out here globally. Okay, starting with, by the way, China's on bank holiday the entire week. I noticed that up front. So there's going to be no data out of China, and we'll see if that has an impact on the market, slowing it down a bit to have so many out. But you've got home loans out of Australia Sunday night, not a big deal. French industrial production out of Europe. We've got a speech out of a Fed member at 1 p.m. on Monday, not a big deal. No U.S. data on Monday. M2 money stock out of Japan Monday evening here in the U.S. Business confidence out of Australia right after that. Get to Japan's consumer confidence at midnight going into Tuesday Eastern Time. CPI out of Switzerland. We got meetings in Europe. Big data set at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time out of the UK. CPI, RPI, PPI, HPI, all of it. All your eyes basically coming out right there at the same time. Leading index, the CV leading index right after that. So that's some UK data at least. Nothing too big for the market though, unless it misses or beats by a lot. Got small business index out of the U.S. and mortgage delinquencies. Also the Treasury budget number at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday out of the U.S. Bank holiday again out of China again. Like I said, it's all week long. Europe, German WPI going into Wednesday mornings. PPI out of Switzerland. Industrial production out of Europe. Nothing major there. U.S. data coming into Wednesday. Core retail sales, import-export prices. Business inventories data, crude oil. None of this stuff is big for Forex. That takes us to Wednesday evening. New Zealand's got a couple of numbers, the FPI and the business manufacturing index. Japan's got their preliminary GDP. We could move the yen around, but we don't trade the yen a ton. Shouldn't have much impact. We've got the Bank of Japan's rate announcement going into Thursday and their press conference Thursday in the early hours. German preliminary GDP, French preliminary non-farm payrolls data. Flash GDP out of Europe, unemployment claims from the U.S. That's the initial and continuing unemployment claims. We've got our 30-year bond auction, natural gas data, and then New Zealand's retail sales in 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time Thursday evening. Revised industrial production out of Japan right after that. And then here you can see what Friday looks like. Italian trade balance, retail sales out of the UK, trade balance out of the broad European group, manufacturing sales out of Canada, capacity utilization, industrial production, and preliminary University of Michigan consumer data on Friday morning. And then the G20 meetings begin. So there is not any, really nothing of our big data. No Fed meetings, none of our big three that we follow. The only rate announcement is out of Japan. So again, I think it's a clean week for trading. You've got obviously the storm to worry about Monday and the holiday and options to worry about Friday, but in between should be pretty accessible from a trading perspective. So we'll see how it goes. We'll have new calls Sunday, and we'll see you guys in the lab to talk and trade the futures market, or the Forex market, and the futures in the stock markets all week long. Have a good weekend.